Well, hello class, and welcome to the first week of the first unit of PPSY555, Career Development Theories and Techniques. My name is Jeff Boyan. I'll be your instructor for the class this spring semester. Really looking forward to learning with you and kind of digging into some of this content. I'm especially excited about the class this semester because we're trying some new things this year. I've actually switched out the textbook requirements for the reading. For the most part, there's a couple that are similar, but I've switched out the main textbook, and I've switched out another book on vocation and calling by Schwen and Bass that I'm really excited about us digging into and getting some time with. As I think it's a nice complement to career development, but I don't want it to be too overwhelming, too strong to kind of take away from the career development content that we will be diving into in the Tang main textbook. So in this class, it's a little bit of a unique course. There are smaller numbers this semester, which is great. I like the more individualized kind of focus on the class and the content. And it will mean that the 3 or the 4 or the 5 or the 6, however many students we end up with, maybe 7 or 8 if they have kind of late adds in the semester, you will have an opportunity to really get to know each other and dive deep into the content together. So here's kind of how it's going to work. And I'm going to do a couple of videos this week as we get used to what we're doing this semester, okay? So a couple of things for you. The syllabus was sent out to you last night, at least those who had signed up before the semester began. Some of you who may be late adds, I will send it out to you later on this evening. So you have the syllabus. The reading list, the required books, they are listed in the syllabus. I've sent them out to you separately, but they've also been on the APU bookstore webpage for the past several months. So you have had ready accessibility to see the books. So my hope is that you already have ordered them. You have them in hand. If you have not, I want to strongly encourage you to order them right away because we are going to dig into the reading immediately. You'll be reading a number of books. There are 4 assigned textbooks. And I think they all kind of serve a specific and different, unique purpose in this class. So you can see those in the syllabus. Your class it's a 16-week semester, okay? So there's technically 17 weeks with the spring break there in the middle of March, I guess the second week of March. But there's 16 weeks of actual course content. There's actual instruction in those 16 weeks. The way that I've broken this class down is that each unit, which there's 8 units, each unit will span 2 weeks, okay? So there's some discussions that take place. There's some readings, of course, that take place in the main textbooks, and also some articles you'll find online with some links to them if you need to get them, if you need to dig in and kind of get to the library, you can find them there as well. So you've got your reading, you've got your discussions, you have your assignments, and then there's a couple of final assignments that you'll do at the end. It's a pretty low-key class, though there is a good amount of weekly work that needs to take place as you dig into a lot of different ideas that make up what this class is. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to be working through, on most weeks, not all weeks, but most weeks, a case study that will come out of the Tang textbook, the Career Development, Career Counseling textbook. Okay. Then there's some exercises, and these exercises that also come out of the Tang text. These are exercises that really I've chosen them. There's a number in each chapter, and I would encourage you to go back and do all of them, but you don't have to. The ones that I'm really looking for you to accomplish and complete are the ones that I have pulled out and then put into Canvas itself. Okay. And these exercises are more personal. All right. So what I'm looking for is for you to go and do them on your own. Okay. So, and then upload the content, the response to Canvas itself, all right? So this is something that I was really excited about finding this textbook because one of the things that I've heard from students again and again and again, every single year, every semester, fall, spring, summer that I teach this class, is that the course is not just applicable and important and relevant to their professional work, to the kind of the rows that they plow, the work that they do and that they're eventually going to do with clients, but it's also personally applicable and relevant and important to them, their personal lives and the work that they're doing as an individual. So as they, and now with you, you're walking through kind of what's next for me. I'm getting a master's degree. It's in marriage and family therapy, so I think I want to go into some sort of, whether it's psychotherapy or counseling of some sort. I'm also taking this career class because I want to get the LPCC license so I can potentially, work across state boundaries or whatever the reason is that you're getting it. But the reality is, and here's the reality, and maybe not for everybody, but for some, the reality is that you may not end up working in the specific field when you're done with the program that you had either initially attended to or thought you may go into when you started the program. So as much as this content is helpful for you to then take and use to work with clients, I would also say it's helpful for you to take and for you to use personally. What does it mean for me? So these exercises that you'll do in certain weeks are meant to really help you think through what does this content mean for you personally? Because as you know, as you go through the MFT program, you're doing all of these hours of counseling to prepare before you actually do your, behemoth of a 2,750 hour, if that's still the requirement, after your master's degree is done. You also have to go see a counselor. You have to do work on yourself. I think the best leaders are those that lead themselves well. I think the best counselors are those that understand themselves, that know themselves, that even, I would say, counsel themselves well, that have worked through some of the issues in their lives that they will then go and help others to work through themselves, right? So that's really intentional with those assignments. The Schwen and the Bass reading, which you'll find in the syllabus itself as far as the assignments go, you're going to spend time reading assigned sections out of each parts in the given unit, okay? And in the given unit of these parts of the course, you'll read certain parts of the text. Now, you'll notice that the Schwen and Bass reading is a kind of, you could say, a somewhat of a departure from the main textbooks, okay? And that's very intentional because I think a couple things that I think. When I'm teaching career development specifically, if we ignore the ideas of vocation and calling, I think we do a disservice to you as a student and eventually a disservice to the clients with whom we will work in the future and perhaps even in the present right now. Because we're not dealing with the entirety of the person. We're dealing only with kind of the technical ins and outs of career development, okay? The individual, the identity, right? So if I know who I am, and I would say, especially from a faith-based perspective, whose I am, I will have, I think, a much better chance of succeeding even when I don't accomplish the things that I set out to accomplish, okay? So if I don't get hired, for instance, the reason I got into this field of work, I've been doing this now for 11 years, okay? The reason I got into this line of work is because in 2007, I applied for 217 jobs. That's a lot of jobs, 217 jobs. I finally got job 217, but you can imagine that there was severe depression and anxiety, and I was just a mess of a person over the 9 months that I applied for these 217 jobs. So when I finally got my job, I said, I want to do everything I can possible in my professional life to help other people not to have to make these same mistakes and go through the same heartache and challenges that I just did. And probably you all have a story similar to why you got into work that you're getting into. So this is really important to me. But I look back and I go, man, if I had known who I was and had not found my identity, if I hadn't wrapped up my identity, the kind of how I see myself, who I am in what I do, then I think I would have actually been able to successfully navigate that time of unemployment much better than I actually did. But I was so wrapped up in what I did for work, when I didn't have something to do for work, I felt like I was nothing. And I think that's a very real reality that so many people in the world today are dealing with. And so I want us to look at this idea of vocational calling, because I think it speaks to that, especially this text that I'm having us read, the chapters specifically that we're reading. So I'm excited for you to dig into that. And what I'm looking for, and I'll speak more about this, but what I'm looking for is for you to really jump in and just kind of share, how do you see the content from this text intersecting or interacting with the rest of the class? And you might say at first, well, I don't see it connecting at all. But I want you to dig deep, and I want you to share, I think something like I put in the syllabus, 4 to 5 paragraphs of what this means to you. Really get into it. Really kind of talk about why you think this is important and what it means to the greater whole of career development. Now, I'm not giving you a whole lot of prompt type questions. I'm giving you some areas to cover, but not questions, not specific content questions to respond to, because I want to see you respond uniquely to the questions in ways that nobody else can or will. And from there, so that's due with the first Sunday of every week of the first week of the unit. Then by the next Sunday, you then are required to respond to at least 2 of your classmates, and not just respond, but actually interact, go back and forth, engage in discussion. And the reason that I'm doing this is I want you to really think deeply about how all of these things connect. I think it's incredibly important if you can think deeply about how they all connect. When I work with clients and someone says, hey, I heard that you're a career coach, career counselor. Can you help me get a job? No. What? You're a career counselor. Why can't you help me get a job? Well, that's not what I do. But you're a career counselor. I need a job, and you help people get jobs. Well, kind of. But we have a lot of other things to deal with first. If we don't get to that content, and all I do is get you a job, then you're going to be back here in 6 to 12 months because you're going to hate that job, and you're going to want another job. There's so much more to talk about. So when you start to think about what does this have to do with therapy, with counseling? I mean, it's endless. We can talk about this for hours about the connections. In fact, later on this week, I'll share a video, just kind of my philosophical approach to why I think career development is so vital and so important to the greater whole of therapy, of counseling. And then the last book, which is actually the first book you'll read, is Well-Being. And I'm going to get to this in a little bit. I'm not going to show too much about this because I want you to take the assessment first. So you should have purchased a brand new version of Well-Being by Tom Rath. And you should have purchased the book, and in the back of it is a little, an envelope of sorts, and it has you a code to take the assessment, the well-being assessment, the well-being index assessment, okay? Take the assessment first, then read the book. The assessment is due at the end of this unit, okay? So you have 2 weeks to take the assessment, so if your book doesn't come right away, you're fine. Take the assessment, and then by the end of the second unit, you have to have read the whole book, well-being in its entirety, okay? And then you have an assignment that's due, which you can see in Sakai, or in Canvas, I'll talk more about this. And you'll be responding to the assessment and to the text itself, okay? Both of these will be uploaded to Canvas in the assignments section. And once we get through kind of the assessment and the book itself, we will then talk about, why do you think it was that I had you read this text? Why do you think it was that I had you take the assessment? Why do you think it was that I see a connection between this content and the rest of the class? And then what is it that you think about these things, okay? So every week we've got lots to do. We've got lots of reading. We've got lots of potentially videos to watch. We've got conversations to have. And I'm kind of looking forward to where we'll be at the end of the semester. And I think, okay, what sort of a student do I hope to have developed or helped to have developed throughout the curriculum in this course? And I want to be able to look back and say, man, these students are well informed. They're well engaged. They're deep thinkers. They're individuals that really kind of gave it their all. Because what the truth is, you're going to get out of this class what you put into it. And initially, you may not see the connection between career development and therapy, but I hope that as we progress through the class, you will start to see the connections, because I think they're pretty clear. And I'm excited about how that might come to be seen by yourselves as well. So again, Jeff Boyan, your professor, your instructor, your pilot this semester. I've been teaching this class for about 8 years now. I love the content. I love the learning. I'm excited to journey with you. If I can be of help in any way, support you, please know that is my goal. That's my desire. That's my hope. And I just look forward to what this class holds for us. and how I might be able to support you as you progress through the course, and even potentially after the class as you venture off into the work that you will do upon completion of your program. So glad you're part of the class. Looking forward to journeying with you. Look forward to seeing you online in the weeks and days and weeks ahead.